Welcome to Together for Good, brought to you by Baptist Health Foundation of San Antonio. Together for Good exists to recognize and uplift the many people working together for the good of San Antonio and the surrounding communities. Now here's the host of Together for Good, Cody Knowlton.
Okay, thanks, Katie. Hello, and welcome back, everybody, to Together for Good. This show is being brought to you by Baptist Health Foundation of San Antonio as a part of our mission to honor our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and our Baptist heritage by encouraging and funding health-related programs at area nonprofits and churches. Through Together for Good, we connect our audience to the great work these organizations do in our community. Well, think about how often you rely on your vision just to get through the day. I mean, you glance at your phone for directions, read street signs without a second thought, or scan a menu at your favorite restaurant. Now imagine trying to do all of that without sight. For people who are blind or visually impaired, navigating a world built for the sighted can be incredibly challenging. Public transportation isn't always reliable. Sidewalks and crosswalks can be unsafe, and even something as simple as reading labels at the grocery store can become a major obstacle. One of the best solutions to these challenges is a guide dog, but getting one isn't as simple as it sounds. These incredible animals require years of specialized training, and for those who need them, the process is being matched, and maintaining the partnership is complex and costly. Today, we're talking with Patrick Glines. He is the CEO of Guide Dogs of Texas to dive into the realities of living with vision loss, the everyday barriers people face, and how a guide dog can make a huge difference in someone's quality of life. Patrick has more than 30 years of experience working in the guide field, serving in various roles from guide dog instructor to program manager to revamping guide dog programs. His work has taken him all over the world, from Oregon, New York, Australia, New Zealand, and Chile, where he helped build and improve programs. Pat graduated with a master's degree in orientation and mobility and is certified by the International Guide Dog Federation as a guide dog mobility instructor. So, Patrick, we are honored to have you in our midst today. Your background is rich in this field, and we're glad you're in San Antonio, and glad you're bringing your expertise here to come alongside a great organization that we've known for a few years, and that being Guide Dogs of Texas. So, welcome, my friend.
Well, thank you very much. I am really happy to be here, and I am incredibly blessed to have had the career that I've had doing a job that I absolutely adore. So I've been very, very lucky.
Yeah. Well, let's just get our conversation going here. I mean, how does a guide dog work? I mean, what kinds of things are they trained to do?
Sure. I do have to start by saying, unfortunately, they don't read the street signs for you, and they can't read the menu to you, so you're on your own there. But the best way that I can describe this is working with a guide dog. The handler plays the role of the pilot, right? So the end of the line is them. They get all the decisions. They're the ones that are making the final calls. They're also responsible for navigation. So they need to know, okay, to go to my doctor's office, I need to leave the house, turn right, cross 3 streets. 2 of them have 4-way stops. 1 of them's a light, and really understand how to get where they're going. And then the role of the dog is the safety officer. So the dog is there to make sure that while you're on that journey, you do it in a safe manner, and they keep you both safe.
Interesting. Yeah. So the bigger industry here, I mean, the larger dog service category, are guide dogs kind of a special group within kind of the bigger context of service dogs?
For sure. It's, in my biased opinion, they're the most specialist of all the service dogs. But yes, there's a whole category of service dogs, which is defined as dogs who perform trained tasks to help mitigate a disability. And there's a large field of different types of service dogs, and it's growing every year, where the more that we're learning and understanding about dogs, the more that we realize the value that they have and how we can partner together with them to make our lives better. So we are one piece of a larger puzzle of working service dogs.
Well, let's talk about Guide Dogs of Texas. I mean, you guys are the only guide dog school in Texas, which is wonderful. So tell us a little bit more about y'all's history and kind of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, I'd love to. So Guide Dogs was founded in 1989 by a couple that were golden retriever breeders. And they spent a few years breeding puppies to provide purpose-bred dogs to other schools. And then eventually Guide Dogs of Texas grew into training and providing the dogs ourselves. So I came on board just about 2 years ago now to really help grow the program. We, like many schools, we have a wait list of over 2 years, which is not acceptable to me. It's been it's been determined that you need a dog and then a dog would benefit you and that you're having to wait so long to get that. So I've come here to really try to help grow the organization and be able to provide more dogs to clients. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, and I'm super glad to have a little regional school here.
Do you ever have clients, Patrick, who have never experienced being a dog owner before?
For sure. I joke sometimes that we spend our days training the clients how to use this very complicated mobility device, right? How to navigate and work with the dog and how to interpret what they're telling you. And then at night, we're teaching you how to pet a dog or how to relate to a dog or how to groom or brush a dog. So we do get clients that have all levels of experience living and working with dogs, and we do everything that we need to do to help them understand how to take care of the dog, both in terms of making sure that the working relationship stays good and sharp, but also that the dog is getting everything that they need for their own safety and comfort and joy. I spend a lot of time working both with instructors and with clients, like understanding that treat guide work as a game and not a job, right? Make it fun so that you're enjoying it and the dog's enjoying it, and really how to relate to the dog and make it a playful adventure.
I don't know about our listeners, but I'm always kind of caught where, you see a guide dog and you think, am I supposed to be friendly to this dog? Can I pet him? What's kind of the general rule there? I mean, some do have kind of a service dog badge on that says I'm at work, that kind of thing. But then others, and I know somebody in particular who we just talked to, or talked about, that the dog is really friendly and it's welcomed. So talk to us about the interaction you ought to have with a guide dog.
Sure. With a guide dog, the best piece of advice I can give is if you see them working, just let them be. Don't distract them. Like if you talk to or call to the dog or grab the person's harness handle, I liken that to if you're driving and I just reach over and grab the steering wheel and, tell me how that's going to end. So really letting them be, don't make a lot of eye contact with the dog. It's really a terrible rule because I want to go pet every puppy, but they've got a job and they've got a purpose and somebody's responsibility is on the line. So it's best to just leave them be. If you see somebody that is just sitting and having some downtime, you're welcome to go ask the person if you can pet their dog. Some will say yes, some will say no, mostly based on how the dog's going to react. We have dogs that really, really, really love that attention. And if they get too much attention from the public, it starts to distract them from their work. So the clients are typically saying, I'd rather you not pet them. And some are fine. The dogs can be pet and still stay on track and stay on focus. So it's always good to ask. And there's service dogs of every flavor out there now. And even if a person doesn't have a noticeable or obvious disability, if they have a dog in a vest that says it's a service dog, I'd advise to just treat them the same way. Just, give them the respect and the opportunity to do the job that they do what they're trained to do. And if there's downtime, you can ask.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, too, if you see somebody and they look like they're confused, it's perfectly okay to go ask the person if they need some help or some assistance. But you never want to talk to the dog. I've seen people give directions to the dog. I've seen people grab the harness handle. Like it's a person who is blind is just any other person with a defining characteristic, and treat them as such and talk to them, advise as necessary, offer assistance. And if they say no, then no. And if yes, then again, let them guide you in how you can be of service to them.
Now, do y'all primarily use Labradors? I mean, is that the kind of the dog of choice?
We do, yes. Around the world now, the guide dog of choice is either the Labrador or we do some Lab Golden crossbreeds as well, looking for a little bit of hybrid vigor. The reason is the Labs are the most successful, and they're the most successful because of their versatility. So I can give a Labrador to a 20-year-old college student who's, every 3 months their routes are drastically changing. I can give the same dog to a 40-year-old businessman who's going into an office with a very clear routine. I can give that same dog to a grandparent who maybe is not getting out every single day working and has a much lighter load. So the versatility of that dog really helps me be able to place it. And the guide dog of days of yore was the German Shepherd, right? Mm-hmm. And that came about when the guide dog movement started in earnest in the U.S. was the 40s. So we had veterans coming back from the Second World War, young, otherwise able-bodied, active, healthy young men who were happy to go out and work a dog 3 or 4 miles every single day that the German Shepherd needed. Now, my primary client is age-related macular degeneration. So as we're getting older, our eyes are wearing out. And a lot of folks that are of retirement age and beyond are not necessarily looking for a big, strong-willed, 90-pound German Shepherd type who needs to get out every day for 4 miles, or they tear the backyard up. So the labs are more than happy to go out and work a few miles, and then the next day more than happy to be a couch potato for the day. Yeah.
Sound like a pretty good work schedule, actually.
Not too bad. There's days I kind of wish I wouldn't mind being a guide dog. So.
Do y'all have your own breeding program, Patrick? And how does that work?
We do. So we're working on building that right now. So that's part of the growth strategy to create more guide dogs. So we work really closely with other service organizations and with a breeding cooperative that is specifically for service dogs. And with them, we do our breedings and our mating. So we're also continuing to grow our in-house breeding program. So we have dogs that are specifically our dogs and not part of the co-op, and making them part of our breeding colony. It's a slow process. You need a pretty special dog to be a breeder. From the temperament side, I'll ask my instructor staff, hey, would you like to train 100 of these dogs of, the specific dog? Like, oh, yes, I love that dog. But then we do DNA testing. We do eye exams, heart exams. So really making sure that the dog ticks all of the boxes to be a breeder. So we're continuing to grow that program. It is incredibly collaborative. I'm so very grateful for all of the organizations that have worked with us and helped support us, and that we're supporting back in that breeding program. But the reason that breeding is so important is that purpose-bred dogs have a significantly higher success rate than either dogs bred for pet or dogs pulled from shelter. So as we're a charitable nonprofit, we try to do as much as we can with as little as we have. So it's about getting the dogs with the best chance of success and doing everything we can to have as good a success rate as we can. So the way to do that is through purpose breeding. So we're generationally looking at what the dogs are doing, how they're behaving, how their health is, and then picking the best of the best and growing from that.
Now, this guide dog training is an intensive process. I mean, can you walk us through the journey from kind of that cute puppy to professional guide dog? I mean, how long does that take? What's the typical success rate for the dog?
Sure. That program, that starts even before whelp, because as we just talked about, the parents, the lineage of that dog has been specifically selected because of the traits that they demonstrate. So when the puppies are 3 days old, they start getting very specific and clear handling to prepare them for a life of service. And they get that every day until they're about 8 weeks. At about 8 weeks old, they go to volunteer families that keep them for about a year. And these volunteers are absolutely the backbone of our organization. We cannot do what we do without them. So they take these little fluffy bundles of fur at 8 weeks old and mold and shape and grow them into young adult dogs that we're proud of and have that capacity and the ability to do the work. They are supported by a staff member who her sole job is taking care of all of these puppy raisers. When the dog is about 14 to 16 months old, they'll come in for formal training. So they will live with us on site for 19 weeks, and the professional instructors will go through all of the paces to teach them how to be an actual working guide dog. We spend about 3 to 4 weeks working with each individual client, teaching them how to work with that dog. All of the nuance and the complications of following and working with a dog. It's kind of like getting a new dance partner. You've got to learn each other's steps. And then we will offer support for the life of that team. So once you graduate, we come and visit you at 1 month, at 3 months, 6 months, and then every year thereafter, just to make sure that things are going as well as they can be and giving all of the support that you can give. And that's one of the things that makes me most proud about being here at Guide Dogs of Texas. Being a regional school, we're able to provide that elevated level of customer service and making sure that the clients are getting all of the care and the attention that they need.
So start to finish, about 2 years?
They're graduating, usually not quite 2 years old. Sometimes it's not uncommon to have a dog celebrate their second birthday on class. So we'll get some pup cakes.
And more than not, the dogs are successful?
Typically 50 to 60% success within the guide dog world. We do, for dogs that aren't successful as being a guide dog, but we think there's another career opportunity for them, we do work with other organizations so that we can place dogs in other services.
Yeah, good. Patrick, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about guide dogs and the people who use them?
I love that question, and there's a couple points that I want to make to that. Number one is most people who have a guide dog have a level of functional vision. So often when we're not educated about this, we think a person who's blind, we think somebody who's got absolutely zero useful or functional vision, where most of our clients, about 70% of our clients typically have at least a little bit of functional vision. So you don't have to be totally blind to work with a guide dog or to get the benefit of the guide dog. For us, it's legally blind is the threshold to be able to qualify for the dog. The second point that I really like to emphasize here is that working with a guide dog is a teamwork, right? You put in your part and the dog puts in their part. So the dogs, maybe one day we'll get here, but the dogs don't have a GPS system where you can like punch in an address and, the dog will take you to the Starbucks on 3rd and Main and you just kind of check out and hang on. Like you have an active role in this partnership. So you're responsible for the direction and for the navigation, helping keep the dog on task. They are well-bred, well-trained, and they're still dogs. They still get distracted sometimes, or they still see a French fry on the ground and think, I'd like to have that. And it's your job as a handler to be able to interpret and understand that and be able to manage the dog effectively. So it really is it's a partnership and a teamwork thing.
Yeah. What happens when a guide dog is no longer working?
So when a dog retires, that's a process that we'll go through with the client. As the dogs are aging, we'll work with our clients to make sure that the dog's still enjoying the work, they're still physically capable to do the work, and that they still enjoy it. And when any of these three components aren't met, then it's time to look at retirement for the dog. A vast majority of our dogs will stay with their client and live with them as a pet. I've been in this industry for 30 years. I've had pet dogs my whole life. And I still deeply believe that I will never understand what the relationship between a guide dog and their client is because of the interdependence in that relationship. So they're incredibly close with those animals. And most people want to keep it as a pet. Or if they can't, they'll place it with a friend or family member or coworker, somebody who's had the luxury of seeing that dog every day and hanging out with them every day. If they don't have the capacity or the ability to keep the dog, we will then go to the people who raised that dog as a puppy. So I'd call you, hey, Cody, remember that really sweet lab, Hank, that you raised 7 years ago? He's retiring. Would you like to have him back? And a vast majority of the time, those people will jump at that opportunity to get that dog back. Barring both of those situations, we have a list of folks who would love to adopt dogs from us, and it's just finding the perfect home for the dog at that point.
Mm-hmm. Well, beyond providing guide dogs, I know you guys are involved in community outreach. I mean, what does that entail?
Community outreach, a lot of that is just letting people know who we are and what we do. And it's opportunities exactly like this one where we can talk about like, what does the dog do? What don't they do? Who we are as Guide Dogs of Texas, what our needs are in terms of volunteers or funding. And then we do a fair bit of advocacy as well. So making sure that all shop owners know what the access rights are for working dogs and that our clients are empowered to understand that as well. And just helping the community understand who guide dogs are, what they do, what they don't do. And just a more informed person is a better person. And that's what we're trying to aim for.
Mm-hmm. Patrick, has technology impacted the way visually impaired individuals navigate the world? I mean, how do guide dogs fit into that kind of landscape?
Yeah, I love that. Technology advances at a remarkable pace, and it's our job to try to keep up with the latest trends and technologies, and then how do we fold that into the dog? So at this point, technology has really advanced well, and probably the key to that is the mobile phone, where you've got a little computer in your pocket that can do all kinds of things for you in terms of navigation or read your menu for you or give you whatever information that you need or support. So all of those things are complementary to the dog, right? So a client is welcome to use technology to understand, okay, I'm at point A, I need to get to point B, use that technology to tell you how to get there, and then still they direct the dog, and the dog keeps them safe along that journey. It's wonderful for VIA here in San Antonio has got Navilens. If you look at the bus stops, you'll see what looks like a QR code, but it's much more colorful. That's called Navilens. And if you hit that with an app, and you can do it from a large distance, and you don't have to point very close. If close enough is good enough, and it will tell you what that bus stop is, what number of buses come there, when the next bus is coming and going. It's a beautiful piece of technology. I really like it. So all of these things can help complement your understanding and awareness of the world around you while you're working with the dog. Right now, I'm not too concerned about robotic dogs taking over my job. It's a discussion that I like to have with folks in the industry because as wonderful as technology can get, there's really nothing to replace that fuzzy cold nose when you're waking you up in the morning or running around the house and playing with, or if I have a bad day, I can't come home and cry into my computer, but I can sure snuggle my dog and get some comfort out of that. So the advancement of technology has been amazing. It's made my clients more mobile. It's made them more integrated into the workforce. And all of those things just all work together and are greater pieces of the greater puzzle. And the guide dog is a big piece of that as well.
Patrick, how many dogs typically do y'all train every year?
So we graduated 6 dogs last year.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, I'm super happy for that. It was tied our record that we've ever done. And then I'm just continuing to slowly, I would like to be very aggressive, but time and money and resources, slowly working on growing that. So expanding the breeding colony, then expanding staff and being able to provide greater services. So looking to grow that by several people per year.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got time for a story. Do you have a client story you'd like to share?
So I saw this question, and I love this question, and I have to say no. I couldn't get just one story. I love working with my clients. I was working with a woman recently, and I had trained her with her dog, and our normal working route was not quite a mile long, and we had to stop and take a 10-minute rest break along the walk. And I went to visit her at her 6-month check-in, and she told me the route we were going to do. And I thought, wow, that's longer than normal. And we hit that route, and she's just cooking along. And at one point along the route, I stopped and I said, I have to say, Maria, your fitness has really improved. And she kind of sidles up next to me and she goes, yeah, and I've lost a few pounds too, right? So that dog, the purpose for getting out and working and walking and the ease of walking with that dog, she's healthier now. She's moving better. She's feeling better. She lost a bit of weight, and it was pretty remarkable. And then the other one that I really love telling is we gave a dog to a gentleman, and his daughter was getting married. And it's important to know that the dogs lead you. You're not just walking side by side, but the dogs, there's tension in that harness, and they're pulling you along. So you have some weight to follow. And when his daughter was getting married, he said, because of price, because of my dog, I was able to lead my daughter down the aisle and do my fatherly duty. Whereas if he'd have just had a white cane, he wouldn't have been able to lead her down the aisle. They would have just been walking together. And just what that meant to him and how that made him feel as a father, and this is what my job is, and I'm being able to do that because the dog has been able to help him, is really, really special. So they provide mobility, they provide companionship, they provide a social interaction. There's a lot of these things that these dogs do for folks, and I'm here for all of it and all of the stories and all of the ways people's lives are better for the dog.
Well, how can the community support your work?
Also a great question. We are a charitable nonprofit, so we rely on private donations. We have no state or federal funding. It's all privately supported. So we are grateful for all of the contributions that we get. We are also heavily reliant on volunteers. So the primary volunteer that we need always the most of is puppy raisers. So folks taking that little puppy into their home, housing it for a year with full support, and then helping create the next generation of guide dogs. We also have opportunities for folks if you want to do that on a part-time basis. Say a normal puppy raiser is going on vacation for 2 weeks. We need somebody to puppy sit for 2 weeks. You can do that. And then we have weekend boarders as well. So our training dogs come in on Monday morning and they live in the kennels, and then Friday afternoon they all go home. And they have little backpacks with their book bags and everything. It's very cute. And we need folks who are willing to take a dog into their home. So you pick up the dog Friday afternoon, keep the dog over the weekend, and bring it back on Monday.
See. Well, that's great. Give us a website that they can go to find you.
We are www.guidedogsofTexas.org.
Okay. GuideDogsOfTexas.org.
GuideDogsOfTexas.org. Yeah. It's a longer one, and Texas is spelled out TEXAS.
Awesome. Well, Patrick, thank you for joining us today. I wish we could talk longer, but our time is up. And just learning about the incredible work you guys are doing in the population you service just been great. Let me offer a prayer for you before we depart today.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for Guide Dogs of Texas. We just love this organization. We love dogs, and we just are grateful for how you use dogs to help mankind live a better and more improved life. So continue to bless this great organization, Patrick, his leadership. Thank you for bringing him here to lead this great place. And we just lift him up, lift up the organization and the clients and the dogs. And so we love you, Jesus. Amen. Listeners, thank you for joining us today. And as always, you can catch our episodes anywhere you get your podcast or by visiting Baptist Health Foundation of San Antonio's website, bhfsa.org/Together for Good. We're going to be back next week with another great conversation about health matters and the work of our nonprofits in this area. Take care and God bless.
Thank you for tuning in today for Together for Good. We hope you've been encouraged, uplifted, and inspired. Until our next time together, may the Lord bless and keep you. And in all things, to God be the glory.